Okay, I don't enjoy talking to camera at all, but I don't have a watch to show, so I'm just going to do this. There might be more of these in the future when I don't have a watch, but I want to give an update. So I've got my 40th birthday coming up this year, and I want to mark that occasion, like many of us, with a new watch. I previously stated that will probably be a Zenith Chronomaster Sport, the white dial. I previously tried on the black dial, and it's a beautiful watch. The movement's incredible, the dial finishing is incredible. It's nice and light, a lot lighter than I thought it would be. It's a chronograph, it's a different brand, it's a fantastic watch. But I started doing more research around the brand and around just really looking into it and seeing how they hold up longer term, and it's not good news. So I know, I went on to the Zenith Facebook group, a number of different Facebook groups, and just asked around what the expected value of the Chronomaster Sport would be in 4 or 5 years' time. And one individual messaged me and said he managed to buy one used for 6,800 on the bracelet. One was being listed on a national forum that I'm on in the UK for 7,200 with the bracelet and with the rubber strap with deployment available. And one sold for just under 7 with just the rubber strap. So for me, it's a very special purchase. All watch purchases to this point have been made with my heart, which is what it should be with any hobby. But it feels like it's time to make a head and heart decision. This is something I would want to buy new, like I did with my Omega Seamaster Aquaterra for my 30th. So I want that experience of going to an authorised dealer, picking it up and owning a brand new watch. So unfortunately, it does actually now rule out the Zenith for me. So where does that leave me? Back where I started a long time ago, looking for a Rolex Explorer 2 with the polar dial. So I have mentioned in the past, I've actually had 2 opportunities to buy that watch when they were available in authorised dealer windows, but I didn't at the time because financially it wasn't the right thing to do. It wasn't sensible. Do I regret that? Possibly, but it was the right thing to do at the time. So it ticks a lot of boxes for me. It's another brand, it's a white dial, it's a watch that I've wanted for coming on to 7 years. I tried to scratch the itch with a Zelos Horizons GMT Frost Edition, which just really just takes that aesthetic, but it didn't quite work for obvious and many reasons. Ultimately, if you do particularly want any watch at whatever level, Longines, Patek, Rolex, Tudor, Zenith, Glashütte Original, you need to buy that particular watch. So I am now going to start the hunt for an Explorer 2, and I already kind of have. So I went into my local authorised dealer a couple of days ago and tried to express some interest in this watch and asked to go on the list, and I was told very politely, but they're not taking any more people for that particular watch. But I could have a Sea Dweller, a 36mm Explorer, a Datejust, a Yachtmaster, and at that point I just stopped him and just said I don't want to go on the list for any of those. That's the only watch at this time that I want, with the ultimate goal being a GMT Master 2 at some point. So I wasn't added to a list then and there. I did continue to have further discussions with another gentleman in the shop at the time. I have a bit of trivial purchase history with the shop. We bought a pair of diamond earrings for my wife's birthday at that time for £600. I have one Omega service. I have an Omega watch purchase, but it was 9 years ago. I might see if they can add that to my purchase history. And then the other thing was we bought my wife an eternity ring for £1,800, again about 5 years ago or so. So if I can get my Aquaterra added to that purchase history, that might help me. But it was so long ago, it probably wouldn't have much of a difference. I was offered a previous generation Explorer 2, so the 42mm, you have to forgive me, the reference escapes me, for £12,000, so £4,000 above the current RRP for the current model. I just don't know who's going to pay these prices. It's crazy. It's crazy. It is crazy. On the grey market, you could pick one up for 9,500, 10,000. The current model, the older model, you could probably pick it up for 9,500 as well. So Joe Blogs walking in off the street, they're not going to pay that price because they'll be thinking that's £4,000 more for an older watch. People who understand the market will just go and buy a used one from a grey market for considerably cheaper anyway. They were very polite, but that was not something I was ever going to entertain. So really, I'm making these videos just to kind of show that what's the process, how long is it going to take me, why am I doing it now? One of the other reasons I'm doing it now is the Rolex market has taken a bit of a dip. And when I say dip, it's quite a substantial dip. And I'll just put some evidence of that here, and bear in mind this is Chrono 24 and it is as of today. So yeah, you'll see some evidence of the shift in the Rolex market that everyone's very aware of. But the particular model I'm looking at is this one, and you can see it's 10.5 at the moment. At the peak, it was roughly 12.5. You'll then also see this is the current Batman. It peaked at 21.5 and is now down to 16. And then the biggest fall, we'll go into this one as well quickly, so you'll see this is quite a substantial fall as well. From 33.5 down to 27. And then another really big one, another GMT master. You can see I've got a particular trend in my style, what I like. So 24.5 down to 17.5. So it is also important to note that when you look at 2019 prices, we're at around 14.5. You're still £3,000 away from that. So I still think there's some way to go in the market for these. The key thing for me is this isn't a gradual, slow decline in prices. It's a really sharp fall off a cliff decline. We're still quite far away from 2019 prices, but if you look at the general macro economy, not just in the UK, but across the globe, the cost of living crisis that everyone's suffering with at the moment, people are passing over these watches. One of my friends had an expression of interest at the same authorised dealer for an Explorer 2 Polar, and he passed it over. There are watches sitting around on, again, that forum I was mentioning earlier, for months, multiple weeks, being reduced. This is specifically Rolex sports model watches that were selling, no word of a lie, within half an hour, 15 minutes, only 6 months ago. They're not only not selling, they're being reduced because people are now not wanting to buy these watches because they don't know where the prices are going to end up. All of that is going to continue the downward cycle. People won't be picking up watches, and that makes, hopefully, people like myself able to get a watch they actually enjoy. When I started looking for my 40th watch a year or so ago, this wasn't the case. I wouldn't have even entertained going into an authorised dealer and putting in a request to go on a waiting list. So, where am I? I'm back to a watch that I've always wanted. I'm back to having what would be another brand in the collection, another style, another aesthetic in my very small collection. And it also does mean that the only real watch other than this one I want to own from Rolex is GMT Master, either the BLRO or the BLNR, both, or either on not on a Jubilee but on an Oyster bracelet. So what I would do is eventually get this Explorer, at that time put my name down on the list for a GMT, and then when that time comes in a year, 2 years, 3 years, whenever it is, leverage that certified pre-owned process and then change this watch for the GMT Master, and that is ultimately the watch that I would like to own. So I can have the experience of buying this for my 40th, and then whatever watch, whether it's this one or the GMT Master, that will be the watch I keep for the duration of my time on this earth. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting journey. I'll document how quickly or not that process happens. And yeah, we'll see where we go. If you have any questions, as always, please just let me know.